Hello all, welcome to the Nindy Nexus review of The Adventures of Elena Temple Definitive Edition. My name is Mikey, let's get into it. First, I'm going to talk about the story and introduce the game to those who may be unfamiliar. Then I'll close with more bulleted points of what we like to call the joys and cons. So, if you're one of those looking for the condensed version, skip on down to later in the video. I promise it won't hurt my feelings much. In my original written review of the base game, The Adventures of Elena Temple, that published May 15, 2018, I started out by fondly reminiscing on the days of past 2D platforming, and how we all have a favorite. Even if for some, that means being one of those people who claim Zelda 2 is a fun game. But hey, they're out there, right? Next, after reminiscing, I moved into introducing Elena. Who is Elena Temple, and what exactly is she adventuring for? Well, to answer who she is, the game actually opens with a simple statement. Before Lara and Nate, there was Elena. Welcome to the virtual museum dedicated to the adventures of Elena Temple. The first thing you'll notice are the many words and options at the bottom half of the screen imposed on a background, looking like a Sega Genesis game case on light mode. It's a familiarity that I'm sure those who grew up with the classic consoles will notice. The pictures you see down there are different aesthetic options in which you can play the game. Choose one to start, and if you feel the need to change, you can. You can even change up styles in the middle of a run if you'd like. It won't affect your progress, which is great. However, just remember it is purely for looks. It does not change the content of the game. Oh, and if you're curious about what the words say down there, I'll tell you. It outlines the story of a developer who creates a game, finds brief success on a failed console, and, due to poor sales, has to move back into his parents' house, making a home for himself in the comfort of the garage. That and deal with his condescending mother. After regaining his familial roommates, this developer continues to push on and on with the development of Elena Temple, system after system, only to end in commercial failure each and every time. Not a single break was caught. After many attempts, they eventually became an accountant, taking over the family business. Now, I suppose a pessimist would view it as I just described. But let's put on our optimist cap for a second. I see someone who chased their dream, doing what they love, and even though it didn't become their lifelong career, they gained a skill to envy. They had a roof over their head, and ultimately still became a business owner. Not too bad for a garage hobbit if you ask me. It honestly just leaves me wondering if there's some thread of truth in there somewhere. And even though that story has little to do with Elena's adventures, it's a slightly amusing read, full of game console references and crisp, classic graphics. Back to Elena though, the real star of the game. Pick your console of choice from the 7 options available and you're off to the races. And by races, I mean starting one of the 3 puzzle-filled platforming adventures. If you ask me, Elena Temple is fearless. She traverses the depths of narrow, trap-filled corridors, wielding nothing but a 2-shot pistol and an iconic fashion statement of a hat. She goes toe-to-toe with rattlesnakes, dodges deadly spikes, and guns down those flying bats. How's the old saying go? Never bring a bat to a gunfight? No? Okay. Anyway, I mentioned before that you find out who she is and what her motivation is. Well, I just told you who she is a little bit ago. She's a famed adventurer, predating some of the other very famous explorers, hint hint, Lara and Nate. I'm not actually sure if I'm allowed to say their franchises by name, but let's just say one series rhymes with Sun Farted, and the other was cosplayed by Angelina Jolie. But what of Elena's motivation though? Why does she do what she does, risking her life one temple trap at a time? Well, making buku money and taking lavish vacations. What else? But that was the original, the older game, and, by comparison, a younger Elena. Remember, this is the definitive edition, which not only brings 2 brand new extensions to her original adventure, but also a story and message of personal growth and maturity between each game. As subtle or tacked on as they may seem, you get to read about that once you complete an adventure. Elena's original adventure, which is included in the definitive edition still, is called The Chalice of the Gods. Whoa. Anyway, In this journey, you familiarize yourself with the game, which holds the largest map of the three, containing over 50 custom-made levels designed to make you think, test your timing and your reflexes. I say over 50 because, in classic fashion, there are a few secret rooms to find as you progress, holding secret items, should you be keen enough to find them. The whole purpose of the game is to find enough of the collectibles in each adventure, which consist of coins and other specified items unique to the particular adventure. Collecting enough grants you access to the concluding chambers within the temple. These last couple chambers house the final set of puzzles, which, fittingly, are the most difficult. A battle of the wits is all that lies between you and prosperity, and I'm all for it. Though the movement in this game boils down to a simple control scheme consisting of moving left or right with directional pad or joystick, a jump button, and a shoot button, the game woos with its simplistic charm, tugging on nostalgia like an innocent child at a parent's sleeve. As mentioned earlier, it also contains that unique gimmick of allowing you to choose a specific aesthetic for your playthrough, taking on the appearance of classic gaming consoles we're all familiar with, but whose identities have been changed for their protection. Either that or not to suffer the wrath of cease and desist from at least 3 different billion-dollar companies. In the all-new second adventure, called The Golden Spider, Elena has new challenges to face, showcasing new game mechanics, including enormous spiders, tricky spiked blocks, and the challenge of restoring powerful magic back to staffs that will unlock new paths. That is, of course, along with more trials, tribulations, and treasure. The player is also teased with an extensive list of achievements spanning all 3 journeys, and tantalized with game stats at the end of a single run, motivating you to do better. Plus, you get more background about Elena and what she does post-game when she's not staring death in the face. In the third and final adventure, named The Orb of Life, you are on a mission to save yourself. No spoilers here, but let's just say this time around, journeying has a special motivation. Elena's life may very well depend on it. This final installment to the trilogy is the culmination of everything you have learned up until this point. There's no more practice. You're navigating crumbling and disappearing platforms, one-way locked gates, physics-defying portals, and all with limited lives. Can you make it to the next bonfire? Because this is the only means of saving your progress here. Yes, sort of like Dark Souls. Enough. I have to say, this was absolutely my favorite of the 3. Though it's a little shorter, you can tell the care and calculation that went into each and every jam-packed room in this temple. It makes you think, and it ties the story together in the end very well. Speaking of the end, we're almost to the end of this video. As promised, here are my condensed joys and cons for the Adventures of Elena Temple Definitive Edition.
Joys.
That's code for the good stuff. This game features well thought out and well designed levels. I've never become stuck, soft locked, or anything of the sort. The puzzles as a whole are now at an acceptable difficulty level that is accessible to most players from casual to more hardcore. The controls are amazingly responsive, as is hit detection accurate. Along with this, the visuals are crisp and clean. Lastly, the nostalgia hits home. There's no other way to say it. Between hidden items, Easter eggs, and replayable runs, Elena is always down for more temple runs.
Cons.
The game, even with additions, is still relatively short. A competent and skilled player will have beaten the game in a few hours, no question. It may not satisfy the needs of the self-proclaimed hardcore gamer. Don't worry, there's always Sekiro. And lastly, while still very solid and catchy, is unfortunately the soundtrack. Play the game enough, and as much as I have, and you'll probably end up turning on your own music. Okay, now that you have my take, let me end with some closing thoughts to wrap this up. Listen, I thought the game was good before. It got praise from me. I enjoyed the original base game, but it left something to be desired. In my opinion, this definitive edition is the true version of the game. It feels fully fleshed out and is worthy of your time. It has a solid blend of retro platforming and sophisticated level design. There are lots of new achievements to conquer and secrets to find. In fact, word from the developer is that there is an ultimate OP secret that is unlocked when all Easter eggs are found. I don't know what it is, At this time, I have yet to find it myself or see anyone else who's found it either, but it's intriguing. In summation, with the added content and story and the passion that went into its creation, I'm happy to say The Adventures of Elena Temple Definitive Edition is deserving of the Indie Nexus Full Heart score. Not every game has to break boundaries or define a genre. Then again, sometimes a single developer creates a smooth, simple experience that is enjoyable to explore, easy to play, and hard to master. Thank you for watching my review of The Adventures of Elena Temple Definitive Edition. My name is Mikey, and if you liked this video, consider hitting that thumbs up and subscribing. It means a lot to us. Stick around and explore our channel for more great Nindy content. Until next time.